Hey guys, Insomnia here with some more AFK Arena. Today I wanted to go back to when I actually originally started creating videos on here and looking at my faction team. So I actually created 4 different accounts on 4 different servers to run faction teams and running exclusively with faction teams. So let me go ahead and pull up my teams, and I think it's something that I'm going to start doing again with AFK Arena. It's kind of unique to run with just strictly one team for the faction bonuses. I know there's some pros, there's some cons, so let's go ahead and take a look at the other accounts. So here we are on the Team Wilder account. If you go through and look at some of my older videos, I do have most of the runs for the Team Wilder. I did start at chapter 9 this morning, push all the way to 9-29. So what I do is I go through the chapter until I get defeated. Once I'm defeated, that team's pretty much out for the day. I've been running some of the Labyrinth, been trying to level up. So the Wilder team here is actually comprised of Iran, Namora, Sirius, Arden, and Leica. So that is our Wilder team. They do get the full 25-25 buff because that's what I run. In the future, I definitely love to use Kaz, love to use Gorvo. And one of the main purposes of this is Wilders is not a team that I use. I really don't use anyone on the Wilders. Don't use Namora, don't use Tassie. Even though on my main account I do have them ascended. So really focusing on what heroes are really strong within the faction and seeing their kind of strengths and weaknesses, running only them. Sirius I've used for a while though, except I'm not finding that he's a very good tank. So like I said, replacing him with Kaz for the dodge or Gorvo. On my other account, I only have one Gorvo on the main account, so I haven't got to actually use them. So this is going to give me the ability to use the heroes in each of the factions and actually see how good they are. This is the Lightbearers. So again, started chapter 9 this morning with this account. This team is actually comprised of, as you can see, significantly better. We got a legendary plus Belinda, a legendary Lucius. I've been running Australia, which again, on my main account, not a hero that I have, so I actually don't have her. I believe I might have her elite, but never actually got to use her. Thane, another hero that I've never really used. A lot of people say he's really strong, especially endgame. Don't really use him as well. And then Rosaline. This account has just gotten a lot of love because one, it gives you the Belindas when you start off. It gives me the Lucius, which we just got. And it gave me the Belinda. Unfortunately, I don't have the Gwyneth. I believe when the code came out, I didn't use this account. It had been actually dormant for, I think, 2 or 3 months now. So I pulled a Rowan too, which Rowan I always use, but Hedrick I don't use. Now I hear Hedrick and Gwyneth combo is insanely overpowered, especially when you get Gwyneth up a little bit. So this team's going to be focusing on pushing as all Lightbearers, and like I said, with the teams, I do everything with the Lightbearer team. So when you look at the actual lineup, that is all I use, is Lightbearers. So we'll swap them out for Lightbearers and stick to Lightbearers. The only time that I deviated from it, or will deviate from it, is when we do have the faction towers. So I've actually focused on my resonating crystals, which it's always been empty. I've never used it for anything. But putting 2 teams in here to make sure that I can do the Gladiators Arena. I just unlocked it today. So getting a team in here so I can at least get Gladiator coins, to get Gladiator points, to buy some of my heroes, which it's easy when it comes to the faction heroes because I only have one of each faction. So this one will actually just focus on Falks. The Celestials and the Hyperions, I'm kind of leaving those as just random summons. And then all of our summonings are being saved. All of our scrolls, all of our gems, everything is being saved for the faction summons. Same with the wish list. If you looked at the original video, we're sticking with our core team, only Lightbearers, nothing else on the wish list, seeing if maybe that'll increase our odds a little bit. So hopefully, but let's go ahead and take a look at the next team. So here with the Team Graveborn account, we've actually gotten pretty lucky with this one as well with our faction summons. Right now we're running Veden, which I know is an end game, but early game he is pretty strong. Grezold, which I always love, super tank, especially when he starts getting his minions up. Sylvana, definitely super DPS. Shamira, which of course is always the carry. She was actually the first hero that I summoned right off the bat with the first summons. I believe when you complete chapter 1, and then Pharrell, which again, a hero that I don't use on my main account. So here I really want to test him, see how well he does, as well as Isabella. Again, main account, don't have her. So focusing on the team here with the Graveborns, I'll really have an opportunity to see who is the strongest, where the weaknesses lie, and see really who is the best Graveborn. So all of these accounts are free to play. So it's pretty fun. I got a lot to do on this account, actually, a lot more to do on this account today. But on 9-3, I haven't done a push for today. So just going through, leveling up all my Graveborns. As you see, I've gotten pretty lucky with some of the other summons as well. So the Graveborn team does have a ways to catch up. But again, saving everything for the Graveborn summons. So we actually have a couple scrolls there, a couple hearts, quite a bit of diamonds, and the same with the wish list. Sticking with our solid Graveborn, which the other hero is Kelthar that I'd like to use. I don't have him again on my main account. I believe I do have him legendary, but not enough really to be effective, especially on in the end game, as well as library, just focusing on the factions that I'm going to stick with. So making sure that all of that is updated. Which unfortunately none of my unions have Thorin, so no help there. So focusing on the Graveborns on this account, it'll be nice to see, like I said, these accounts are free to play. So as I continue using heroes that I usually don't use, especially usually don't use on the main account, as you know, my main account is really focused on the Lightbearers and the Graveborn are the two that I focus on. Wilders and Maulers really haven't used many heroes from that faction. And now we'll get into our last team. The final team is Team Maulers, which on this team we're actually comprised of a pretty solid Mauler team already. We have Brutus, we have Chaos, which are awesome, super powerful tanks. Sophia, which I use every now and then, but not too much. Nemitsu, which again, a hero that I don't use really at all. And Savius right now. I do have Screg, which I actually just pulled the Screg a little bit ago. So he is actually, I know with his rework, is super overpowered if he fought the 4 Scregs, as well as a couple of the new heroes that I haven't unlocked in the Mauler faction. So like I said, with Maulers and Wilders, not factions that I usually use, but running the game with just a team of Maulers, using Maulers only, does have a benefit. Maulers are huge with synergy of each other. So when you actually get Chaos up a little bit in levels, he buffs his Mauler team. With Life Leech, they kind of play off of each other, and they're a team that seems to kind of synergize all by themselves. Where a lot of the teams, you have a couple different people, a couple Lightbearers, a couple Graveborns, or a lot of people do Lightbearers and Wilders. That way they have some healing. Or Graveborn Wilders, that way they got some CC, they got some healing. But Mauler seem to be one of the teams that are self-sufficient. A lot of people stick to Brutus and Chimera, which is kind of the cores for the team. So this one, right off the bat, we did get a Brutus. He was actually, I believe, one of the first pulls that I did was Brutus. So as we go through running the team Mauler, again, I've been saving all of my scrolls, saving all of my wish list here to see how well we do. And this is actually a very old wish list. As you can see, Vork is in there, or Verk. So we'll take him out because we want Screg. This Anastandra, I believe is how you pronounce it. I know I'm very bad with pronunciation. I still don't have on any account. I still don't have her on my Mauler account. I don't have her on any of my accounts. I don't even have her on my main account. As well as some of the heroes. The twins, I don't have on any account. Haven't seen any of the twins on any of the accounts. And the same with her and Tandra. I don't have her on any account. So I'm hoping on the Mauler account I can unlock her. I do want to use her and see how well she does, especially before I get to endgame, because a lot of times when you pull her towards endgame, you can't use her. You got to get her legendary, legendary plus, mythic, to even unlock an item for a chance to even use her and be good. I mean, actually have a chance to survive. So this is the Mauler team. Again, these are free to play accounts. It's very interesting to see. So I did 4 servers right in a row with the 4 team accounts. They're all pretty similar in chapter 9. And I expect that's how they'll kind of stay. I don't know if one or two, if I get an RNG or a lucky draw with some of the accounts with my faction scrolls, which is what I've been saving all of my candy for, is faction scrolls. Because when you look at the rewards, I actually have to do, you can pick a hero for 720, which is nice, but the cost of the faction scrolls at 150. I mean, if you can get 40, what's that, almost 50? Or is that 50? Almost 50 faction scrolls. The probabilities increase to a point where it's better to do the faction scrolls if you're pulling, 50 of those. Not only are you going to get a chance to get a lot more Maulers in the case of this team, but not even with a lot more Maulers is a lot more elite heroes because of the amount of summons you're doing. A lot of people here have been getting the Stargazer cards. I haven't found any benefit with those. A lot of people have picked them up and they don't know where to use them, or they haven't unlocked Chapter 16 yet, or they're not VIP 13, so they're collecting these Stargazer cards. And a lot of questions I get is, where do I use them? Unfortunately, you can't yet. So my choice for this event, I'm going to save all of my candies until the very end, till the event's about to conclude. And all 5 of my accounts going to go ahead and buy all faction scrolls, and then we'll go and we'll do all of our summons and see how well we do. So let me know what you guys think of the faction accounts. I really think it's a fun way to explore a lot of heroes that I usually don't use. I know a lot that I don't use, maybe S or S plus or even A plus rating when you look at tier lists and stuff like that. But being towards the end game, there's no opportunity to use them. So this will actually give me a chance to build up some of the stronger heroes, or some of the earlier heroes, the newer heroes that I don't have any of the faction to. And also focusing on one faction is you do get the benefit of the 25% buff. So that's one of the big benefits. I know right now early game doesn't make a big difference. Mid game it starts making a little bit of a difference. When you start getting to end game, 25% attack and 25 hit points. When you look at some of my heroes like Ascended Lucius, he has 1.2, 1.3 million hit points. 25% buff is huge. I mean, absolutely huge when it comes to the faction bonuses. I always stay with the 3 heroes of the same faction, 2 heroes of another faction minimum. That's what I like to run for the 15-15, which is up here. But running on Team Maulers, so running through all 4 accounts, I've been going through, doing the Phantoms, doing my bounty boards, doing the Arcane Labyrinth, spending a little time trying to clear out the Voyage of Wonders, which at this level it's a little bit hard. But like I said in the comments, let me go ahead and tell me what you think of the faction teams. Which faction you think is actually going to be the strongest? I think it's Lightbearers. It seems like with Rowan and Belinda, Lucius, Australia, a couple of those, it just seems like the Lightbearer team is going to be the furthest, or get the furthest, especially towards endgame. But let me know in the comments what you guys think, and thank you guys for watching.